Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're on the internet. Yeah. Alright. I think we're on the internet. Alright, I don't got no comments. Hey, y'all. It is March the 27th of 2020. And y'all, just like it says there in the title, we got a bit of a screenshot preview, a whole smattering of screenshots to go through, and most of them we're not even going to have time to talk about. We're just going to race through them, right? In fact, I don't know what we have to look forward to, which is very typical of my broadcast. That's what I got to mention. When it ever seems like I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I don't. And the reason is because there's so many things, and we just let it lead us where we're going to go. And I think that's what we're going to do tonight. Do a screenshot preview here, and then go more in depth, go into the nitty gritty over there on D Live, because forget about YouTube, you guys. It's a done deal. All right. So I want to see y'all, some of y'all over there on D Live. Eventually, I still don't even know if I know how to see the comments on Streamlabs. So I don't know. I don't even think I get any views, but that's all right. I just gotta establish a routine and stuff. Hey, listen, I rushed into this broadcast just so that you know. I want to let you know that I appreciate you. But I rushed into it. So I do have to go ahead and gather my coffee. Right? I think that's going to prove to be crucial. And things like that. And it's going to take a couple minutes. Plus, here's the thing. I like to set the vibes. Now, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes YouTube gives me the business, or the internet gives me. I don't know. I have no idea what's the factors. But sometimes they give me the business over it, and they starts buffering, and I know it cuts y'all in and out, and y'all be buffering and stuff like that. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it comes in crystalline clear. And I'm hoping that's what happens tonight. In fact, I got a special cover. I see there's somebody up in the building. Like I said, I'm going to try and play this song real quick, and you're going to really, really enjoy it if you do hear it, if it doesn't start buffering. And sometimes it doesn't buffer, and sometimes it does. And we're going to have to fill that out because I do have to go run and get my coffee. You got to put creamer in it, and I put cinnamon, all right? You understand? That's what I do, okay? So I'm about to do it and grab my coffee and bring it back. And meanwhile, there's this song, and I've known about it for a long time. And there's a reason why I'm bringing it up. In fact, that's the first thing that we're going to talk about because I know it's heavily on your minds is what is going on with the lead singer of Trapped from the 2000 era, that band, and he's on Twitter. What's going on with that? We're going to talk about that and all sort of other crucial things around the world. But meanwhile, okay, so we're going to talk about that. So this is actually a cover of one of their hit songs, and we're going to talk a lot about it on the other side. But it's a cover done by it, and I'm shocked. I'm in fact disgusted, dude. To be real honest, disgusted that this cover that I've known about for quite some time, it's a year old, has only 569 views. Like, basically, this is a world exclusive, and that doesn't even close to make sense. All right, it's so dang good, and I hope that it doesn't buffer for y'all. All right, I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I want to go get my coffee, and I'll be right back.
Hi Jordan, it's Vila. Here is the song that you wanted me to learn for the holidays. So I really hope you enjoy and have a wonderful holiday season. Close my eyes, let the whole thing pass me by. There is no time to waste asking why. I'll run away with you by my side. I'll run away with you by my find the one that I call mine. Time to call for space and cause let the whole thing pass me by. There is no time to waste asking why. I'll run away with you by my side. I'll run away with you by my side. I need to let go, let go, let go, let go of this pride. Yeah, until this echo, 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 echo in my mind. Oh, until this echo, 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 echo can subside. Yeah. Do I expect to change the past I hold inside? With all the words I say, repeating over in my mind. Some things you can't erase, no matter how hard you try. An exit to escape, there's all that's left to find. Close my eyes, let the whole thing pass me by. There's no time to waste asking why. I'll run away with you by my side. I'll run away with you by my side. I need to let go, let go, let go, let go of this pride. Yeah, I need to let go, let go, let go, let go of this pride. Yeah, until this echo, 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 echo in my mind. Yeah, until this echo, 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 echo can subside.
Brilliant, I thought. Anyways, let me hold on one second. What's her name? Vila? All right, yeah, I've known about this for pretty close to a year. This cover and stuff. It's one of my favorite. All right, but it actually is pretty dang appropriate for what we're about to dive into right now. Oh man, I don't even have stuff brought up. Let me navigate real quick. Let's take it to the screenshots, all right? And Lord knows we have way too many. We have more than we can shake a stick at. We're not going to even be able to mention all of them. Some of them I'm going to just skip past and be like, look, I don't even have time to verbally mention some of y'all, all right? Some of these dang screenshots. But I'm perusing through right now. I'm looking through and scanning through, checking out what's going on here because I know I have a couple of different screenshots pertaining to this incident that I've been noticing, all on the news or whatever, the news feeds, right? I've been trying to look through pictures and reading stuff. It's not working, all right? But anyways, we're going to find that screenshot. Oh, man, before long, we're going to find that dang screenshot. In fact, well, I mean, we could just Google it, but here's a screenshot. Here's one of them, all right? This is from The Rock plus Metal World has united to destroy Trapped. And like I said, the early 2000s, you might remember them and stuff. I like them a little bit, you know, back in, say, my high school days. But honestly, just in my personal experience, gotta let y'all know, I liked them a little bit more as the years went on to my college years and stuff. And I like their music. You might not remember them. You might be like, who the heck is this? Why is this important? In a way, it's not. In a way, it isn't. But this guy, see, the Trap, they still do music, and I've looked into it. In fact, they did a collaboration not very long ago with Anomaly, who you probably should know on the internet. Anomaly, and it spells like Anomaly with a zero in the middle. I think, and you can find him on Facebook. Anomaly is very well known, all right? So, anyways, it is a collaboration. So I know that they're still doing music and this and that. Okay, here's basically what happened. All right, I don't think we had time to go through the Twitter feeds, but they're talking about some Twitter beef. All right, and basically they got into it. Here's the long and short of it. All right, Trapped, this guy, the lead singer who you're looking at right there, he got on Twitter and he started having Twitter battles with people. And obviously, that's what you do on Twitter. So, can you blame him? Not really. Okay, so he's having Twitter battles, but what he's basically doing is vouching, just to be brief, for like MAGA. He's going very MAGA, right? He's defending Donald Trump and stuff. He's actually wanting the best for America and different various things, right, on Twitter. And this somehow it stirred up a kerfuffle, and a lot of people are dogpiling, I guess. And these are all like new age bands, I guess. This is what I'm guessing. I see it from the headlines, and I have read some of the articles. And it's like these newer bands who I honestly have no idea who, like I don't know who the newer bands are, but they still sell all sort of records, or I don't know what they sell, but they're very popular. You know what I mean? There was record labels, and you could see them on the internet. These bands who I'd never heard of, but they make a lot of money, I suppose. They're getting on Twitter and they're banding against him. Basically, in a sense, I mean, if we're being elementary, they're just being very un-American and hateful and spiteful to America, as just so happens to be their opinion. I'm not saying they don't make great music. Maybe they do. They probably do. And that's beside the point. But they hate America, and it's like, it's weird how the dog pile on one person. And I just want to point that out. It's like, there's been people out these past several years, and they're coming out just one man gangs and stuff. They're coming out firing, if you will, like in a metaphorical sense. They're coming out blazing, and they're just saying, "No, forget this. I love America. I love God," and stuff. And then people, they react on Twitter in a very negative sense. They start dogging on these people. And soon enough, that's going to be you and me. Well, and it's already happening, is this you and me. And it's very un-American, right? It's very distasteful. And I got to say, Travis probably got some new stuff out. And I imagine there's a lot of MAGA people out there who's ready to support them in their endeavors. And I gotta stress that that's only a part of the music revolution, which I talk about so much, and you're probably already aware of it. But for those who aren't, there is an extreme music revolution happening right now, all right, in many different facets, all right. The biggest facet in my mind is that all music is going to be for free, all right, for everybody, for all the time, free, all the time, every time, forever and ever, until we don't have electricity no more. And that's part of the music revolution, and there's all sort of finance. Music artists will get paid more than they do now and have ever got paid before, ever, during the music revolution. And it's only part of it, but their dogpile on this guy is pretty distasteful. I know that he's going to get some support, but meanwhile, I find it pretty dang disgusting. Meanwhile, on a personal note, I want to say, as far as Trapped goes, if you might be familiar with some of their hits, I know some of their archive and stuff, and I actually listen to some of their hits from back in the day. To this day, regularly, I like them. Here's what I want to say about them. If you are familiar with Trapped and their music archive, dang, how did I lose all my viewers? All right, well, that's all right. Anyways, just for the recording's sake, as far as Trapped goes, I want to say a lot of their songs, their content material from back in the day, very beta male, right? And I want to point that out, just in case anybody is familiar with their stuff. And I just want to point that out because I know I appreciate the music. I can relate to the music. I vibe with it. And yeah, it's still very beta male, but that was back in the day. See, a lot of us were beta male back in that day. I certainly was. And even further out, I was a beta male and stuff. And then that changed recently over the past couple of years. I don't even know, 2 or 3 years now. 2 or 3 years I've been not beta male. All right, so these guys used to be hella beta male, and I think they overcame it. To be honest with you, I don't know all their new material, but I think they overcame it. It's a Cinderella story. All right. Anyways, that's why I brought it up. All right, but here's what I want to do for tonight. Right, just want to have a preview, and during this preview, I'm gonna get a wherewithal of the nitty gritty of the meat and potatoes of exactly what I want to talk about, and it's probably going to be controversial, or I'm not sure, but I want to talk about it actually on D Live. All right, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump over there as soon as we're done, or well, maybe a few minutes after we're done. It's just going to take a few minutes to get up on there, get it all situated. But I want to talk about some real stuff with y'all over there, and then you'll be able to see my face. I don't know if that even matters. Probably it doesn't. All right, you won't be able to see the screenshots. There's different technical difficulties that we're figuring out. But anyways, this is the San Antonio Mayor. If you can see the visual, we're looking at the San Antonio Mayor. That's what he looks like. You're going to see him more and more, and he's going to be making excuses and ducking and diving and dodging. You know what I'm saying? If you ever see him again, he's going to be ducking and diving. All right. COVID all over the place in San Antonio. I mean, I think it goes without saying, right? And it all somehow conveniently ties into my theory. I can't even explain it. All right, how COVID just built up, just like I said it would, just like any virologist will tell you it would. COVID's built up, and it's building up everywhere. In fact, in every nook and cranny, it seems, of this country. But meanwhile, people are hesitant to just go ahead and guess that perhaps everybody's got it, or half of everybody's already got it, right? And if I had to guess, and it would just all be guesses, but I've heard a lot of people talking a lot of things. If I had to guess, this we're not seeing the end of the deaths regarding corona or people who have corona. We're not sure if corona is actually what's killing them, or if that's only a cocktail of what's killing them, to include all sort of unhealthy habits. Almost you would refer to them as suicidal type habits of people, very unhealthy lifestyles and stuff. Maybe corona is only part of why they die and stuff. Who's to say? There's a lot of horror stories. Obviously, we don't need to get out into all of the details, but it's suffice it to say there's some more cases, and there's going to be more cases, and I think it's going to be more deaths. But meanwhile, that's just one screenshot. Let's go through the other screenshots. See, we got oil prices. They could fall below zero. That doesn't make any sense. How in the world, like, they'd be paying us to take their oil? That doesn't make any sense, all right? But it's wild and wacky, and it gotta have a lot to do with the world economy as far as oil. Everybody's still using oil, you know, in spite of Greta Thunberg, unfortunately. Anyways, like I said, a lot of people were talking about this trap thing like it's a big deal. It's just people having Twitter beef on Twitter, all right? It's like, that's not news, and never should it ever be news. That's what's kind of preposterous and ridiculous about it, because on the face of it, this shouldn't be news. It's like, I shouldn't even be telling you about it, and I actually feel kind of embarrassed by telling you about it. But the reason I told you about it is because of the unbelievable, shameful nature of even discussing people's Twitter beefs, all right? No matter how much you hate America. This is all sort of Drudge Report stuff. We don't have time for it. Look, coronavirus origins, COVID-19 wasn't produced in a lab. Scientists conclude. There you go. That's all you need. Scientists concluded it, you guys. Wasn't created in a lab, all right? Condom shortages, rising sales of sex toys. It's like, dude, we can't even say these things on YouTube, all right? But it's plastered all over our main headlines. Like, for example, I don't know who wrote this, but they should be embarrassed. Genocide from the UK. I don't know. But see, it's only part of it, because I've seen a lot of people talking about different people's relations with each other in regards to this quote lockdown or whatever, which basically is a giant bluff for the most part, in which maybe some people be heavy-handed, but it's pretty much a giant bluff to keep everybody in their houses and their apartments. Right. I think we should talk about that, but we might want to save that more of the nitty gritty for D Live, all right? So it's just like that's just a taste of what I've been seeing as far as the relations go. Meanwhile, the exact opposite is going to happen. And by design, whether or not these people know what they're doing in publishing does not matter. They are participating in propaganda, in a sick, perverted type of propaganda, in order to force you into peer pressuring you into feeling like you got to perform some weird relations with your spouse is and that's actually going to cause friction between y'all because that's what publications do. They muddy up the waters in your romantic relationship, and that's just what they do. But I do wager that they have insidious ends to their means, and I just keep seeing this propaganda. Like whether or not I'm looking for it, it just keeps popping up. This and that about people's relations during the, and it's dastardly whether or not they know it, because I know for sure, just like you probably know for sure in your heart, that there's so many domestically, um, what do you call them, disturbed incidences. They're being very disturbed. There's a lot of people's domestics that are disturbed as hell, dude. And especially if you start to clamor them up and you start to keep it to where they had to be in the same space, stuff's gonna pop off, and it is popping off. All right, so it's actually the exact opposite of what they're saying. And we discussed it. Like people brought this up to me in real life, and they've been like, I heard people are having all sort of relations now because of this coronavirus, and we're all, first of all, gosh, there's so much that we could dive into that whole thing. And in fact, I think that's going to be one of the main lessons to be learned from the coronavirus, right? And it's going to prove to be controversial. Some people are going to call me whatever they want to call me, a Bible thumper. I'm not, all right? Some people are going to they're going to say whatever. They're going to say it's silly. It's a silly argument. Actually, I think it cuts to the heart of the matter. And it's something that I'm alluding to that I have not talked about on any internet forum yet. All right. So it's going to be world exclusive when I bring it up. It's going to be very controversial. Here's the thing, they got this relations propaganda. Meanwhile, that's not going to work. Meanwhile, I've talked to people, real people, who are like, yeah, I think people are having all sort of relations. I saw it in the headlines. And what do you think about that? And they were actually predicting, this people that I was talking to was actually predicting somewhat of a baby boom in the coming 9 to 10 months. And first of all, there is a factor is that we're not exactly as potent at making babies as we used to be, as far as the previous baby boom that you're talking about. But okay, let's say everybody did have babies. They, as I've mentioned before, they would be fear babies, right? And I don't know how much I really. It's like, yeah, every life is important and crucial, and I wouldn't want to waste any one of them. But at the same time, do we want to be making a whole litter of fear babies right now? Is that what we want? 18 or 19 years from now, set of people whose immune systems are so compromised that they twist in the wind just because we had them out of fear, all right, because they're fear babies. I mean, let's break it down real simply. I mean, how much is a lady, and we're gonna go traditional and baby. See, we're not gonna talk about all the details, but how much does a lady look at a man right now in these conditions, and knowing they're both locked up and ain't nothing they're gonna do about it? Meanwhile, what's he doing? Is he playing video games? What is he doing? He should be getting the hell out of his house and working. And Lord knows, half of people who aren't supposed to be doing that are doing that right now because they are men, and they'll go out and get that money. And that's just what it's going to be. You can be precautious. You can try your best with safety first and stuff like that. Lord knows I've been doing it as well. I've been practicing it just like you and washing my hands and singing the ABCs. All right, but I forget how we got off on this tangent. It's just that this whole relations thing, there is propaganda, and it's meant to be used against you. We don't want fear babies. How are you gonna look at, your man and be impressed with him right now. If he's all locked up and pent up with you, and he's over there sitting there making peanut butter jelly sandwiches, it's like, oh yeah, that's gonna make y'all's relationship so much more bolstered, I'm sure. San Antonio Catholic Church starts drive-through confessions during. Dude, we have so much screenshots, all right? In fact, we're going to try to race through these ones. These next series of screenshots, we're going to see what we can do to muscle through them. But I do want to take a moment out and just think about that. And I know it wouldn't strike you. It probably wouldn't hit you at first because it didn't hit me at first, but it hit me in the second blow. I was like, like I haven't gone to Catholic church, and I've been there plenty of times, but I haven't been there like lately, and I don't do that sort of thing. But I understand the traditions of it, and I see the formality of it, and this and that. I see that there's structure to it, whether or not I agree with it or not necessarily. I come from all sort of Catholicism, by the way. The Catholic Church that starts drive-through confessions, that's beyond absurd, and that's dastardly. I would go ahead and say that that's wrong, probably. I think that that's wrong, right? And I'll just, for example, how about you just put the confessions on hold for a little while? I mean, why is this so damn important? Like, when you think about it, I'm not saying stop confessions or whatever y'all doing is necessarily. I'm not telling y'all to change it. I'm just saying it's like, dude, you can put that on hold. If you're putting everything else on hold, if you're afraid, if you're scared out of your mind because you're an old man and you're gonna catch a disease, and so you can't even, you had to put glass in between you and your parishioners. If that is the case, well, then let it be the case. It's like, dude, you hold off on the confessions, maybe just for a few weeks, or are you trying to make this like a permanent thing? Like, why would you have drive-through confessions if this situation is going to play out in the course of a month? Can't they just bottle up their confessions and save them for later? All right, it's kind of ridiculous. It is the apocalyptic. It is the apocalyptic. San Antonio bars shut down, restaurants restricted due to coronavirus. Now this was a while back, right? This was a few days ago, so it's about a lifetime ago when people were saying it's apocalyptic. It sure is. In San Antonio, I haven't been all over the city. I really haven't, so I couldn't see what's all going around. But I've heard from news publications stuff that like that, and I see around me that there are businesses that are in business, and they are running business, and people are going there, and they're giving them that money, and that's how business works, and they're still doing it. And so they're actually paying their bills, I would imagine, and the other people who are not going to work are going to soon start to not pay their bills. I mean, that's just about what's going down. And it's not exactly, that's what it's like, it's not exactly legal. Like, I don't believe there is a law that's telling you to stay in your house and not go to work, but there's a decree. Okay, and so we could like argue over semantics. All right. I don't know how long we're going to make this thing preview, all right? Perhaps only like 10, 12 minutes. Oh my gosh, I got a low bat. All right. But suffice it to say, it's just so much dang screenshots that we would never get through all of them. I think we have a pretty good general sense, though, what's going on. Oh, got low battery. Oh man, plugged in the wrong thing. 1 second. I gotcha. All right. Anyways, I think we got kind of a wherewithal. Like I said, I want to, just have a rapid fire real quick. San Antonio attorney arrested for firing a gun outside his ex-girlfriend's work. And I just really like the smile on his face. I honestly do. Let's see. They put us in front with no ammo. San Antonio doctor says he doesn't have the supplies needed for the coronavirus when it peaks. Trust me, they are wholly unprepared for what's about to go down. All right, and everybody knows it. And so, isn't that something to think about? Congress needs to inject capital into businesses, workers. Chip Roy, I just saw him on Twitter. I think I took a screenshot so I remember who Chip Roy is. He's in Congress, and he seems to have a little bit of sense. San Antonio confirms its first community spread coronavirus infections. Trust me, it's spreading through the community, spreading through travel. San Antonio is a very international place. All sort of people all over the dang world come in San Antonio all the time. and some of them bring diseases. And they brought them, and now they're spreading them, and we don't even know when that started. I would say it started way back, even before like November. It started, and whatever. San Antonio confirms community, so they confirmed it. Thank you for confirming it. I appreciate y'all. Everything is out of control. San Francisco eases into lockdown. I don't know how everything is out of control and you're easing into anything to include a lockdown, but all right. The entire rock metal world has united to destroy Trapped. A dozen of bands attack. That's what I'm saying. It's like this is just a picture from their old pictures from their album stuff. It's not like he's looking like that today, thinking, "Oh man, everybody's destroying me." But meanwhile, they put that picture to make it look like he's in distress, but he's not. In fact, he's probably making more money. China is putting a bullseye on U.S. Navy warships with electromagnetic weapons. I wouldn't put it past them, these dang Chinese. Of course, Washington Times on their game. Debrief how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting the criminal justice system in Bexar County in all sort of untold ways behind the scenes, to be sure. And also, they're releasing prisoners. They're saying it's a capacity problem. I'm saying something else. Some teachers balk at providing childcare for essential workers. And isn't that a disgusting notion that teachers would balk at the idea of teaching children for specific people? 130 plus jobs available in San Antonio. Area retailers, that's Target, that's Walmart. People's businesses, all the small businesses and everything that you can get is being siphoned into obviously Targets, Walmarts. Here we got HEBs and you got different other places and other regional places as far as grocery stores, right? It's all being siphoned to the big places, quite obviously. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's just exactly what's happening. All right. Gosh, there's some nitty gritty that in this particular vein that we could get into, but we can't get into it here because it's a screenshot right now. We can't get into the nitty gritty. Austin Public Health confirms the evidence of coronavirus and all sort of stuff, dude. It's way too much. Area small farmers feel the impact. Of course they do. All right. So ancient teeth reveal Bronze Age gender inequality. Like people are really going and talking about gibberish all over the place. I am Jazz. Jazz's mom thinks one of her friends might be her soulmate and future spouse. That's disgusting, all right? Man, first her mom runs her life instead. Her mom turned her into a her. That's not actually a girl, it's a dude. It's a dude and they shrunk it. Oh man, dude, there's so much stuff that I can't even say it on YouTube. But they shrunk this boy down, all right, to the point where this boy could no longer even be a girl, and all sort of surgical intervention had to take place. It's disgusting. And I know it's got to be super painful. It sounded crazy painful, and I believe the mom is at fault here and is orchestrating it, if not through her subconscious. And her subconscious seeks to destroy, and that's what it's doing to this. But anyways, now the subconscious is taking over and wants to marry this person to a specific person of their choosing because their subconscious full of demons, right? And I don't even know that person's name. I'm just saying that's exactly what's happening. And it's something to be it's like a pattern. It definitely happens, pretty much happens most of the time. And that's why I want to look at it, this subconscious type of action of mothers totally devastating the lives of their children and stuff. I'm not sure how to describe that. It's disgusting, right? But all right. God bless all those people. By the way, I'm not hating on any of those people. I love Jazz Jennings and her mother. I love them so much, all right? 5 things to know about eviction and stuff. Man, we don't have time for all these dang screenshots. You see all these? Look, trending out of control, teenagers coughing on grocery store produce. Wow, right? Trump viciously attacks NBC News reporter in extended rant after being asked for message to America. Wow. And that's CNN, buddy. Bloomberg makes massive $18 million transfer to campaign from campaign to DNC. Wow. All right. Who didn't see that coming? The government wants to start sending millions of Americans a check. Here's how to use it wisely. Wow, you can't. That's your own money. Cuomo, and it's being inflated. 100% of New York workforce must stay home. Wow, all right. Cuomo, that's an interesting thing. I wonder if he's ever going to go back on that. Gas prices dropping in San Antonio. Wow, to below zero. I mean, it's like you can't make oil here in Texas for some reason now. It's just so damn cheap. HEB working around the clock to stock as much as possibly can. Store says, wow. All right. Larry the Cable Guy blasts clueless celebs for singing Imagine as LA's homeless suffer amid coronavirus. Could you even imagine the homeless people in that sort of situation? It's rampant with COVID and everything else right now. Wow. It's like Black Plague over there and stuff, man. And they found it, and I'm not embellishing. That's what they've found over there. Wow. All right. They have a problem on their hands, and they want to export their problem to every major city in America. That's a problem for us. It almost seems traitorous, right? GameStop says it's essential. I agree. Wow. All right, San Antonio hotel closing, all sort of people closing. San Antonio is a tourism hub, by the way. Or like, that's where we get a lot of our money. The toilet paper calculator lets you know how long your bathroom stash will last. Y'all, wow. All right, here's the thing. I haven't, during this whole toilet paper crisis, I have not bought toilet paper, haven't even thought about it, won't have to think about it for a long time. I don't need a calculator because I can basically eyeball it. I got an eyeball calculator that tells me that I won't even need toilet paper for a good month, a month and a half. All right? And I don't even have a lot. And people are tripping so hard that I can't even believe it. How's it possible that there ain't no toilet paper still at the stores? And I don't even need it. I'm not even tripping. It's ridiculous, all right? Saudi Arabia just won the control of the oil market. This is all old news, all right? I mean, this is like 2 or 3 days old. We don't even have time to talk about 2 or 3 days old things. British mom with coronavirus describes having a disease. A lot of people described it as being crippling and debilitating. Some people describe it as not feeling a dang thing. In fact, feeling wonderful. So there's a range. You see that there's a range going on here. And I would suggest it's variation and stuff. That's like nitty gritty type stuff, all right? That we might have to describe on DLive, all right? Because it's nitty gritty. Anyways, coronavirus triggers record sales for. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't believe me, or if you're skeptical, and I can't blame you, in fact, I like you, that's why I relate to you, because of your skepticism. I truly mean it. Without looking for it, pops up all sort of different this and that about relations. I don't know why Google or China or Facebook would even think that I'm having relations here in my apartment. Of course, they heard everything that's happening in my apartment. There's not a girl here. And so that they think I want to know about all these relations. And it's kind of tripping me out. And they keep driving that home. It is propaganda. In a sense, it's made to like make quarantining seem appealing. Like this is like spring break for adults and stuff. Oh yeah, it's great. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time. It's like y'all are disgusting. And meanwhile, you can't even do it properly, and so you need pills and stuff to make it happen. It's like, gosh, dude, y'all are ridiculous. Oh man, I don't want to do. Oh man, we don't look at that stuff. All right, that's private. Anyways, fossil hunters find evidence of all sort of whatever. They're like lying. They're stupid scientists. Angela Tate left me a comment. Hey, I'll just mention that. I'll shout out to Angela Tate and whoever be watching this recording. I just want to put Angela on the spotlight. I didn't realize I put a screenshot of her comment. She said the next part of the psychological operation, just to read it out, man, so everybody can hear. She said the next part of the psychological operation is for all the internet and phone networks to go down. You might find that to be silly, but I find that to be plausible. All right, I don't know if it's going to happen, but to go down in high demand because all the sheep are on a virtual house arrest. Laugh out loud. With the new conditions the monsters have brought in, they've successfully separated me from my whole family under the threat of arrest and detainment here in the UK. My God, Gerard, this is a sick and twisted. This is a sick and twisted, and I feel almost like I would prefer a real virus to end my misery. But I had to take a screenshot of that comment, dude. If you leave a mark on my comments like that, I will remember it. I might bring it up. Right, that sounds pretty dang deep, right? And I'm not making light of it or making jokes of it. I don't know if it sounds sarcastic or whatever, but I've kind of been through the sort of thing where families kind of they dissolve. Here's the thing: that's what they do. They do that on the regular, right? I'm here to tell you that's what normally happens. What normally happens is your family dissolves into nothingness, into like a joke. Typically, and I know I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just trying to say that that is what happens because of the lack of a solid foundation. Now, all sort of people are to blame. For example, in my personal situation, I'm to blame 100%. Right? So, people like to point fingers and this and that, but it's like, well, sometimes family is not going to work out. This is some nitty gritty stuff that we're getting into, actually. And so we're going to say that for D Live, but the thing is, these families that don't work out, they're not supposed to work out. If you're on a foundation of sand, it's just what it is. Eventually, it's going to end. And there's different ways to make a foundation a very sturdy way. All right, we talk about it sometimes here. And well, most of the people, to include Angela Tate, they full well know that. Either that or they're coming around to the notion that the foundation has to be sturdy, and no matter what you build on top of it, how fancy it is, does not matter. It's going to come crumbling. It's stupid. It's a stupid idea because of the foundation. You have to worry about that first. That has to come first. America first. Alright? Things of that nature. It's like, okay, the foundation, what builds that foundation? I think a lot of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And in that, there can't be any tolerance. Alright? We're going to get out of here. And I'm going to jump on D Live just so that I have a repertoire on D Live. I don't know if I'm coming in on D Live. I can imagine I am because it says that I am. And I do have recordings and replays. If you go to D Live, if you're not familiar with it, you can subscribe. You can make an account just like any of these other things. And it's not going to take very long. All right. Sometimes they do take a long time to sign up for D Live. It's really not going to take very long at all. And you're going to have an account, and trust me, there's also other people that you're going to be able to find on D Live. You know what I noticed? It's very popular for gaming and stuff. You're going to notice that. And you might not be into gaming. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. You're going to notice that off the top. And that might drive you away. If you're not into gaming, you might look at it and see, well, that's not what I want. I don't want gaming and stuff. I want in-depth political and sociological conversations. That way I can lurk and stuff. And I just want to hear people. And I want to hear them talk about things I want to talk about. That is happening on D Live all over the place. But it's hard to find it. Basically, what I would suggest, what I've been doing is you got people on YouTube who you listen to for that sort of thing, and they'll be doing live streams. They're also doing it on D Live. So if you know who those people are, you can find them on D Live and start subscribing to them. Trust me, it's going to be more than you can think of, than you can imagine right now. There's going to be more people on D Live than you're thinking it is. And you can find all of them, subscribe to them real quick. That way you can bypass all the gaming stuff if you don't happen to like the gaming stuff. Which me personally, I don't really get into it very much. But there is a lot of that going on D Live. There's plenty of reason. That's what I'm trying to get at. To get on D Live, not just myself, all right? Trust me, you don't have to make an account just for me, all right? In fact, you're going to want to get over to D Live just because as far as First Amendments go, it's way better off than YouTube is now. And nothing is perfect. And everybody has to abide by some sort of guidelines. So it's not like it's a free-for-all on D Live. It's just to say that it's much more First Amendment friendly for the time being, all right? So you might as well go over there because everybody's going over there. All right, with any sort of sense. People are getting banned off of YouTube and just going to D Live who have any sort of sense. All right, and we've been here for a long time. Okay, maybe too long. I don't know if you have any comments or stuff that you want to say real quick before we get out of here. I know there's 2 people up in the building. We're gonna get out of here right now. But I don't want to be rude, and, you know what I'm saying, and just jump out of here and stuff. And maybe you had something on your mind that you just weren't, you were kind of like waiting on it because we were already rambling through all sort of stuff. I want to know, where, you know, saying where you're hanging out, what you're doing. I guess probably in your dang house. What area of the country, what you're experiencing. Is there anything wacky and weird and wild going on where you're at? We want to know about it, just because there's so many places out there. South Africa always comes to mind, all right? And for some reason, I just feel connected to them. They talk all silly, and I don't know why. I just feel like I relate to them over there in South Africa, and they've been suffering all sort of hardships well before this COVID stuff. The COVID stuff is just going to like add to their hardships. And it's all sort of places around the world. Australia, I mean, oh man, Tasmania, of course, India, man. We know people up in Russia. We know people up in South America. We know people up in the UK. We know people up in Canada. We know people like all across. And gosh, I wish I could bring everybody up all the time. Meanwhile, I think what we're getting at with all these screenshots, with all this tomfoolery that I mean, you might as well, I mean, some people would argue, what's the point of, discussing all this weird, wild stuff, all right? Um, well, basically, it seems as though more so than ever, it's becoming very clear, especially with the communication that we've developed, that we're all being attacked globally all at the same time by the same entity. You could think of that as people and blame people for it, and really you're not going to get to the heart of the matter, because then you wouldn't realize that it's the same direction that we're getting these attacks from. They all seek to put us into poverty, and it's not like a maybe. There's no in-betweens. Into poverty, make you slaves, take away your weapons, take away your ability to defend your rights, what rights you think you have. And I don't care what country it is, people are making moves in order to kind of stifle that from you. All right, they understand that once you attain that, just even a little bit, once you attain that, you'll start to create heaven on earth. All right, that was kind of displayed immaculately in the development of America. And I know a lot of people would want to disagree. I'm talking about the United States of America. I'm talking about God blessed the United States of America. And I know there's people around the world, whether it's flat or not, who totally agree with that. In fact, look at America to set the standard, right? Whether or not I live there, I'm not bragging or anything. I was just born here. And they look to America to set the standard for how much freedom that they maybe could have one day. They look for America to set the standard as how industrious that they could possibly be one day. They look at a standard for as far as like how moral maybe to be, probably. And it's ridiculous, right? We need to start, and I believe we are going to start. In fact, that's what's the nitty gritty about all this. Not only just in America, but I might as well emphasize America, because that's what I can see from here. There is no sort of white Nazi terrorist movement that has any sort of muscle in America, and they're gonna lie to you about it, and all sort of other different things. But yeah, all sort of bad calamity fixing to take place, and people are gonna get framed up. And it can't stop, won't stop, right? They don't have no choice because they're so desperate. Who's they? All those criminals in the government who's holding it up, and who's holding everybody for hostage, and they don't give a damn about us, and they can't barely keep the dentures in their mouth, and they're totally wilding out. That reminds me of one of the other big themes of coronavirus, and we're gonna leave out on this note. Actually, one of the big things for coronavirus is that God has a sense of humor, number one. No matter how much calamity and damage is happening on earth, he does have a sense of humor, and you aren't going to notice it. But he also has a way of making things happen that we can't make happen. And it's not going to happen. And if we want to do something to make it happen, it's not going to happen. But God has a way of doing things. And it's funny. It's funny to him. And I step back and I'm like, it's funny to me. For example, like I'll give you an example. The Olympics. All right, a lot of people wouldn't understand. It's very controversial. I'm not against sports. I'm not against athleticism. I'm not against exercise. I'm not against all these things. I endorse all those things. I despise the Olympics, and for that matter, the World Cup as well. All right, might as well throw them in there too. But the Olympics, I despise it. I've done so for a while. As a kid growing up in America, obviously you're trained to really adore the Olympics. I don't like it at all. And I think everybody's snooty, and I think they're it's all corrupt. They know everybody's using drugs. They only catch certain people. It's pretty damn ridiculous, and I'm tired of all of it. I've been tired of all of it. There's no way that I was ever going to stop the Olympics, no matter how distasteful I found it. It's nothing I can ever do. That's an avalanche. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. Meanwhile, even though bombings and all sort of other stuff could not ever stop the Olympics, now the Olympics just aren't going to happen, right? As easy as that. And it actually, see, that's the thing. There's people who's losing billions of dollars at the end of the day here because of the lack of the Olympics, South by Southwest, these music festivals, this and that, all sort of things, tourism, blah blah blah. People are losing billions of dollars. Those people who are losing those billions of dollars, they can afford to take the hit, to be honest, and that's what they're doing. And they're sitting it out. Meanwhile, they know they have money beyond that, and so they're not too worried about it. The billions of dollars they're losing, they've been losing. See, the thing is, they're not really worried about it because they're so desperate, right? And so they're doing all that sort of stuff, and they are so desperate. They're looking for end games. It's all sort of criminality that's rampant over us and stuff. But here's the thing. They think it's playing into their hands. They're doing these desperate acts, but there's only an end to their means, or there's only a means to their end. And their end is that they want total power. Obviously, they want everybody to be slaves and to bow down to them. All right, obviously. It's not going to play in their favor because God has a sense of humor at the same time. All right, just like he shut down the Olympics. All right, no matter how many people were so in love with the Olympics and just couldn't wait to spend up all their money, all their frivolous money on the Olympics, it doesn't matter. It's shut down. And at the same time, okay, in that same vein, look, I wish everybody the best and long, long lives, even longer than mine. Like, I'm not out to violate anybody at all, but you understand that also these wackadoodle people up in the government and stuff running all sort of game, and they themselves got puppet strings on the back of them. Those people are old. They're very old, right? And as you've been hearing, it's compromised people in their immunities who can't handle this. Because those people are pretty much who's dying from this. And they think they're above board. Like, they think that they're not going to get caught up. They think that they can quarantine themselves and this and that, and they're going to escape this COVID. No, the COVID's coming directly for them. God has a sense of humor, and I wish everybody the best. It's only a matter of time. If everybody's got it and stuff, and it's only killing all these old people, well, imagine the politicians who have been just running off of the fumes of drugs, pharmaceutical, for years and years and years. They are dependent on it, and they are very much compromised, and everybody knows it. You might as well wrap them in a bubble because they're very much compromised. We're going to talk about the developments of this virus. I don't even know if we can say that word. We're going to talk about that definitely. And while we do, unfortunately, we're definitely going to bring up certain politicians who are inevitably going to succumb to this. Meanwhile, the whole time thinking that it's playing in their favor. Oh well. Anyways, it's March the 27th, y'all. Hold on. It was their comments. No, there wasn't, but I appreciate y'all. I'll holler at y'all. I'm fixing to jump on D-Live in about 5 to 7 minutes. And I'll holler at y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hit up that BitChute. Hit up that D-Live, of course. I've left links before. I'll leave links later if you come back to this video. Like tomorrow or something, there'll be some links there if you can't, but if you know how to work the internet, it's Gerardo, dlive.tv/Gerardo. All right, if you know how to spell Gerardo. I'm there on D-Live and I'm on BitChute, and I've left links and stuff. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. I appreciate y'all.